Welcome to Sheldan Nidle's webinar, all about starseeds. You know, most every month for the past several years, Sheldan Nidle has conducted a special live webinar. And the purpose of these live webinars is to bring together at the same time as many people as possible to share a common energy, a common vision, and to hold the light. More and more, it is essential that we, as light workers and starseeds, not feel alone or isolated, and that we connect with like-minded others. During each live webinar, we are able to join together to collectively bring about the necessary world changes that will lead to our becoming fully conscious galactic humans. So during our live webinars, the Galactic Federation of Light, all their teams, they heighten the energy fields around our planet. And all the webinar attendees are immersed in a special energy field. So just take a second and allow yourself to let the day go and to feel this wonderful energy. And your galactic medical teams attend to each one of us that are in a webinar. The Ascended Masters, they bring in the angelic joy. So sit back and enjoy the presentation all about starseeds. Here's Sheldan Nidle.
Thank you, sweetheart. What I'm going to do is how I always start these, with a simple little prayer. So I'm going to ask that the Supreme Creative Force come down, surround all of us around this beautiful world, and give us the abilities to listen to what I'm about to say on all the different levels, mental, emotional, spiritual, and all the upper realms as well, so that they can all come together to allow us sitting here as a whole to bring this energy in. So be it. So let me begin. As it says here, this is all about starseeds. And I'm going to go through this part fast, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit as well, which is what the Umakdan is. Now, let us begin. What I do when I start a webinar is I like to start at the macro and move my way forward. This is the galaxy that we're in, and what you see over here, I've got my little arrow. It always disappears on me, but everybody else sees it, and that's where the sun is in this galaxy. So let's begin. A great shift in consciousness is now happening to our planet and to ourselves. Let us explore what this is and how it is manifesting. These events were first told to me by my galactic contacts and later verified by science and media. For those of you who are wondering where I am, there I be. A starseed is a human whose soul is from either a planet in another galaxy or else a planet orbiting a sun in this galaxy. You came here to help the global society that we now see around us shift back to full consciousness. Most of you have had only a few former lifetimes on Mother Earth. Now let's start out with the process that is why we are all here, which is ascension. What we are doing right now is moving from a simple process, complex in nature, but really, if you look at it, quite simple. We are moving from the present 7-chakra system, which keeps us in limited consciousness, and which of course allows for the traditional distribution of the body's energy system, to that of a fully conscious human. This is a 13-chakra system, and this is a fully conscious human. You'll see there are a few extra energy systems in the body, like for instance here and over here, and there's quite a few in the head, because if you notice, when we went back the other way, there were just a couple in the head, the third eye and the crown. Now, you're moving to where you have what I call the universal or galactic male and female, and also you're getting the ajna, or the third eye, is breaking up into the pineal and the pituitary system because of the rise of the well of dreams, which means you now become a being who can actually utilize both the spiritual and the physical aspects of who you are. And finally, we will move from a simple 2- or 3-strand system to the fully conscious 12-strand system, which is wonderfully put together here in this nice little thing from the Church of Spiritual Science. Now, Let's look at ascension symptoms. Now, as you move from this system, which we showed you, from being a 7 chakra being to being a 13 chakra being, and from being with 2 or at the most 3 strands of RNA DNA to one that has 12, things start to happen. As it says here, the alterations to ourselves can be categorized as either physical or spiritual, mental, emotional changes. Most of these I'm going to show you are physical, and to some extent they're emotional and mental. But they do change and reverse how we spiritually look at the universe. Okay, let's look at these. First of all, many of us have noticed or gone through times when we've had changes in sleep patterns. Either we can't sleep, or else when we do sleep, it's in small doses of 2 or 3 hours. Some of us even have a sudden deep sleeps that can last up to 10 hours, some even up to 12. All of this is because as the brain patterns in our mind change, it allows for us to have more and more energy in there. And that, of course, creates an imbalance. When you create an imbalance, your brain says you're tired and you go to sleep. And you sleep as long as you need to. Another thing that happens is as more and more of this energy comes in from source, is you have a tingling that starts at the crown or even goes down the spine, accompanied by itching or some crawling sensations. You can also feel a sudden pouring of energy around your crown. This is this energy coming in we're talking about. Now, you also go through sudden waves of emotion. You feel like you are an emotional roller coaster as you move from happy to depressed to angry or even sad, and people can go up and down with this. You also can see changes in your weight or eating habits. This happened to me when I first started this 20 years ago. You are bringing up a release in your fears, food intolerances. All of us have wound up with problems about wheat or milk. We have lactose intolerance and we have wheat intolerance. And so the result is things that don't have wheat gluten in them, that are gluten-free, have suddenly become a big selling point among all of us. Now, what also can happen is sudden pains in your upper chest or even a spat, short periods of time of having to catch your breath for some reason. You don't understand it. This happens to me every so often as well. This is a result of your thymus center opening and your new heart chakra forming. You can also have sudden painful headaches to the point where you have double vision or blurring of vision. This can be the opening of the new chakras in your head. The head creates all kinds of things that are weird and strange. It causes the brain to change immensely in how it moves its energy around. The result is you will get blurring of vision as the vision center shifts. You will even get double vision from it. There's also very painful headaches. You'll wonder suddenly why you never had migraines in your life and all of a sudden you've got them. This can be the opening, as it says here, in your new head. I like to call it the new head because our head is meant to be different. Muscle pains throughout your body that come and go at will. As the new chakras form, you may suddenly feel a tightness in your abdomen. You may suddenly feel strange pains going on all through your body. Your arms, which are affected by how the spine changes, as well as your feet may go through, and your legs may go through all kinds of strange things. You may get spasms at night. You may get all kinds of crazy things. There's a thing called the broken foot symptom, and that's where you feel when you go up, let's say, to go to the bathroom at night, you feel like your feet are broken. You get these ugly pains, and that's nothing to do with your feet. It's just part of this energy changing. Now, while we're changing, the Earth is also changing. The Earth has various accelerated changes that will involve many seismic and volcanic changes, as well as a polar shift. And what the Earth is changing towards is finally to prove to us that it's not a solid object, that it's actually an inner Earth and an outer Earth, and these are both interconnected by energy systems. Right now, on the outside of our planet is a limited conscious energy system, a 3D system, and on the inside of the Earth, inner Earth, there is a 5D system. So inside here is a 5D system, and then you go beyond this point of gravity into where it's the surface, and it's a 3D world. What the Earth wants to do with its changes is reunite all of that. Okay, let's start talking about ourselves. Do you feel isolated, ridiculed, or judged? Do you feel a special affinity to ETs, starships, or other worlds? Do you, as a child, have a strong desire for movies or TV programs with an alien or outer space theme? When I was a kid, I would drag my mother to practically every movie that ever existed that was available at our local theater about any kind of ET or alien or spaceships or any kind of stuff like that. These affectations are things that can mark you as a starseed. Now, what is exactly a starseed? Let's go through a definition. Starseeds describe evolved beings from another planet, star system, or galaxy whose specific missions are to assist planet Earth and her peoples to bring in the golden age. This is this age we're all talking about right now. Okay. Now let's go further into this. Starseeds incarnate into the same conditions of helplessness and total amnesia concerning their identity, origins, and purpose as do Earth humans. And now here's the difference. However, the genes of starseeds are encoded with a wake-up call designed to activate them at a predetermined moment in their life. Many of us have woken up in childhood. Other parts of us have come in our 20s or late teens. Many of us are doing this now in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, where we are waking up and saying, we have a mission to perform. We are light workers of a special type. We are starseeds. Now, how this happens to us can be gentle and gradual, or it can be quite dramatic and abrupt. In either event, memory is restored to varying degrees, allowing starseeds to consciously take up their missions. I was lucky in that I grew up in the spaceships, in the motherships, so I had no problem with that. So what happens is this is what we are about, this golden diamond seed, which the Mayans long ago called the Tum, the diamond mind. This diamond mind, diamond soul, is what we are discovering. We are moving out of the energies of our birthing lotus, who we are, the energies we live in this reality, and moving through awakening and discovery phases that at times can be difficult. Because as you learn about who and what you really are, the major problem that you run into is, how does this sync with all the stuff that I have learned since I was a kid? And of course the answer is, for the most part, it doesn't. So starseeds are individuals who feel excitement and longing upon learning that they might have originated from another world. Starseeds experience the aloneness and separateness that is the human condition, but they also have the sense of being foreigners on this planet. They find the behavior and motives of our society puzzling and illogical. One of the things that Colleen found out about me is how naive I am about many, many things. I have always, since I was a little kid, looked at this planet as being upside down and backwards, and how it does things as being extremely puzzling and totally illogical. I feel like Spock in Star Trek. This is illogical. So starseeds come from across creation. We come from all over the place, from different galaxies, from planets in this galaxy, from people who have never been in physicality before, or haven't been there for a long time, are returning to physicality. But all of us are here for one purpose, to help humanity return to full consciousness, to return to what they have called to me in English, become once again physical angels. Now, many starseeds are practiced in rapid spiritual weight loss. What that simply means is we can throw off in a few years the limiting behavior patterns and fears that Earth humans might take many lifetimes to accomplish. We're here to do a job, not to waddle or weigh into the problems we're having in this world. We need to go beyond that because we're starseeds. Having been on similar missions to other planets, we are quite familiar with the procedures and techniques for raising consciousness. Thus, as I've said, the concepts of starships, intergalactic travel, various psychic phenomena, and sentient life forms in other galaxies are, of course, quite logical. It always has been logical to me. Even when I was physically able to see it, there was no inner, what's this going on in my dreaming thing? It was, this is real. So we all have a vision. And this vision as starseeds is, I don't see nations of people. I see one people on one planet, all connected and interdependent with each other and all life, all living on an organism called Earth, a planet of abundance for all. That's basically our vision. That's our mission. That's what we look at. That's what we feel. And so this vision, we are constantly holding out our spiritual hands into the cosmos to make possible through our own visioning, our own abilities to create, to make forth with this planet a new reality. Now, let's look at the children. Now, what has happened is the divine plan had a definite period of how this was all to happen. So the first of these 5 waves that you see here, the first one is at the beginning. That's basically from the beginning of it all, 13,000 BC to the late 1800s ADs. Starseeds first acted as wayshowers and avatars. We were here to demonstrate the nature of the universal prototype of full consciousness and to show people how to get there. Wave 2 then occurs from the 1890s to the end of World War II. We begin to start the raising of human consciousness. Many psychic societies are created at that time, Theosophy just being one of them, that help all of us to start to begin to see that there is a spiritual aspect to who and what we are, that we are more than just flesh and blood. We are actually spiritual beings having a physical experience. And spiritual beings having a physical experience. And what is happening now is we are moving forward. And now what has happened over the last few waves is everything begins, if you look at the time frame, to massively accelerate. The time I come in, 46 to 1980, we have the first Starseeds with a mission to change humanity. So all the people around me that have grown up have seen in their lifetime many, many people whose job has been to raise consciousness, to explain the spiritual and space realms to all of us, and to show us how to get there. Starting in 1981, we began to see the first really major indigos come in. They were setting the stage for and then later integrated into the crystal children. The last wave, which happened at the start of this particular millennia, and the rise to the present time of 2012, the crystal children, who actually are using abilities to alter their DNA and the DNA of others and change the world. Now let's look at their particular characteristics. Now, first of all, there's the indigos. Remember, they came in around the beginning of the 80s to really the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s. What are their major characteristics? First of all, they are very empathetic, very curious, very strong-willed, independent, and often perceived by friends and family as being strange. They possess a clear sense of self-definition and purpose. They exhibit a strong, innate, subconscious spirituality from early childhood. It's not a religious spirituality. It's a spirituality about the very nature of who we are and where we're going. What is Source? What is the Creator? What does all that mean to us as human beings? Are we really capable of turning into immortal, fully conscious beings, or don't we? These are their aspects, and their answer to all of this is yes, we are spiritual beings. Yes, we are going through a reintegration upward of our consciousness. We are here to help that. So there is a strong feeling of entitlement. We deserve to be here because we have a purpose. There's a high intelligence quotient, and there's an inherent intuitive ability. They understand things by looking at them and knowing them. There's a resistance also to rigid, control-based paradigms of authority. These are people that want to create something different. These are people that want to change the world. These are people that are setting the stage for that process. Now, what is happening next is the crystals. First of all, let's look at them. Crystals have big eyes. They have a high IQ. Many have an average IQ of 160, while the average is around 130. They often start talking in late childhood, usually around the age of 3. It's speculated that the reason for this is because of their telepathic abilities. They are very empathetic and sensitive, even more so than the indigos. They are often and quite wrongly diagnosed with ADHD. They are very much do not like to stay in one place at one time. It's not because they have an attention deficit. It is because they are taking so much in that they need to constantly change the space they're actually in. Now, also, they're often telepathic. There have been many cases where this has been reported. A case that I've always looked at as being really an example of this occurred one day in the 1980s when the child was sitting in the back seat and his mother and father were in the front seat, and they were driving along, and they came to were approaching a crossroad, and all of a sudden the father, especially driving the car, heard a voice that said, "Stop the car, stop it now." The voice was so strong that he did that. So he stopped the car, and this huge truck, which was running a light, came through the intersection and, of course, would have caused maybe enough energy to hitting that car to have killed everybody. And suddenly they looked around, and they saw nothing, and all they saw on the back was their son was smiling. That's another example of what we're talking about. Telepathically, he had told them, and they realized later that they had always heard this voice at certain critical points. So they saw that it was their son who was talking to them. They are careful about what they eat. They often prefer healthy meals, and many are vegetarians. They are forgiving and often quite naive. They tend to have an interest in spirits, religion, and the supernatural. Some say they can also see ghosts. Their aura, when you can see it, has a crystal-like color. This is the reason for why many people have given them this name as crystal children. Now, many of you say you're a starseed, and many of you wondered, how can you be activated? So let's look at that whole process right now so that you can get a better idea what we're talking about. Now, let's begin. For those of you who know they are starseeds, this is a one-time only, it must be emphasized, one-time only activation process. For those who are not sure, this process will allow them to activate themselves. At the same time, a lot of starseeds are not activated. Their energies are necessary to help anchor love and light to Mother Earth. So this is a 12-minute process that a former director of PAGs, international director of PAGs, put together back when he was alive. He's not alive anymore. Unfortunately, Bill died, and we'll be paying homage to him at the end of this. Now let's go through this 12-minute process that he was given, which has really been quite amazing in activating people. Here's step one. Step one, sit down, close your eyes, and start a series of 3 inhalations and exhalations. Inhale light through the top of your head and down into your body. Exhale all of the stress and worries you have down through your feet and on down into the earth for about 1 minute. So just sit there, relax, connect with Source, connect with Gaia. Feel the energies moving through you. Now you're ready, you're relaxed, you're connected. Now you're ready for the next part of the activation procedure. Part 2. Place your left hand palm up on your left thigh. Your right hand should touch the area 1 or 2 inches below your navel. This is an energy vortex. So the next thing you do after you connect it to Source, you put your right hand up and you create an awareness as you build this energy vortex. And you can see this right here. The right hand is down near the navel. Now, as you sit there with the vortex center building, ask the earth angels to come in to activate this vortex center for you. Stay in this area for about 4 minutes. So now, do the same thing. Activate the vortex for the 4 minutes by asking the earth angels to come and interact with you. This then leads to the next part of the process. Move your right hand up now 1 or 2 inches above the navel, which is the second energy vortex, and ask the earth angels again to activate that area for you. Keep your hand there for about 5 minutes. Just do that, move it up, and once again ask the Earth Angels to activate the second vortex. This will take about 5 minutes. Now place a hand, palm up, on each thigh and ask the Earth Angels to send a confirmation that you have indeed been activated. This will take usually at the most about 2 minutes. So that then will be, you're back in your original position. Now you're asking your Earth Angels for the next 2 minutes to tell you that you are done, you have been activated. And that's as simple as it is. Now that you have been activated, you are ready to actively participate with the rest of the starseeds in doing rituals and in cleaning and balancing your chakra systems. You are asked to stay attuned to learn other ways to help Mother Earth and the population before the earth changes occur. And this, as I said, is by Bill O'Masry. This particular activation process, which has been very successful, if you want to find out about it, it is also under Activating Starseeds section in the PAO website, which is www.paoweb.com, and you'll see that again at the end of this particular webinar. We'll show it to you again so you can write it down if you need so. That's our website, and you'll find what we just did there. Now, what do starseeds do? Let's ask that question. First of all, we come together in our communities to formulate plans for informing our community about full consciousness, first contact, and the changes coming to the global financial system and to government. We create PAGs, planetary activation groups, which act as your local creative support group and permit you to learn how you can use fluid management and your personal sovereignty to achieve your goals. Starseeds are people with a vision of our new reality. You are ready to act as a communication system that can explain what is occurring in our world and prepare your community through creative events to accept this new reality. And these events can be almost anything that a group of you come together and do. There are no prerequisites for this or no lists of what you can do and cannot do. This is about creatively using your energies to find solutions for how to activate and prepare your communities for this change. Now, let me talk about my little group, the Planetary Activation Organization. First, I'm going to have a little drink of water. There we go. This is the Umakdan. And what I'm going to do now is explain to you what it all means. So I'm going to do that just as it's seen on the website. The Umakdan is the symbol of the Syrian star system. It is an emblem that intensely activates all humans. The escutcheon, which is this little thing across the front, or shield, consists of 3 parts. A gold 6-pointed star tetrahedron, which is this thing here, and then across it is a silver cross, which is this thing that you see over here, as well as sights, these silver sights, one on the right and one on the left. And these are encircled by an inner band of silver, see this one, and an outer band of gold. And the background is set in a field, as you can see, of purple. Now this is what all of this means. Each part of the Umakdan is symbolic. The gold star tetrahedron, which is the innermost part, which I call this star tetrahedron, it represents the essence of all sentient life in creation. The silver cross and the sights stand for the manifestation of spirit into matter and its victory over darkness. Now altogether on the outside, the silver and the gold circles embody the union of male and female principles. And finally the purple across the shield symbolizes God's holy creation. And that's basically what it means. And of course, what I am using is for simply to say peace and inner strength through unity, which is the basic motto of PAO, the Planetary Activation Organization. Now let's move into it. Oops. First of all, let's get into PAO's mission. That's what these next 2 slides will be about. The Planetary Activation Organization was established in 1997 to support Sheldan Nidle's fourfold mission. Prepare the world for first contact with the Galactic Federation of Light. Spread the message of the Galactic Federation of Light. Establish a network of planetary activation groups, PAGs, around the world. To support the diverse ecologies of Gaia and prepare for her shift into full consciousness. Now, to do this and to promote our role as physical angels and Earth stewards, planetary activation groups, PAGs, work in coordination with the PAO, which is the Planetary Activation Organization. PAGs are inwardly guided and actively involved in awakening people to the global transformation in consciousness. Basically, what a PAG does is act locally and think globally. By think globally, we're talking about this activation procedure, the changes that are happening, and we're looking at the local level to explain to people that we're not nuts, that it's real. We have a very small dedicated staff. These are the people that make possible everything we do. Colleen Marshall, who many of you know from communicating about fees, etc., Miriam DeVera, Miles Simons, and Rhonda Whitlofer, which handle the website, which make it possible for all of us to communicate with one another, and Eugenie Smallman, who is a major person in helping me to create the update by editing it. Together, all of us, in our acts together, in this great unity, we are PAO. What PAO is doing is using its energies to help others around the world to create a global network of light, an energy of consciousness that prepares us all for the shifts of the planet and of ourselves. Currently, we are reevaluating how PAO is organized and how it can help PAGs organize and operate in their respective communities. We are beginning again. And this leads me to a wonderful quote by Margaret Mead, which I put up here for a reason. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Let us together as individuals in groups and as large groups together as an organization, let us come together and make possible for all the citizens of the world to change this world. Okay, let me start talking about PAGs. This is based upon materials that I originally wrote for a book that I put out about 10 years ago. But it also allows us to get a better idea of just how all the different aspects of what PAGs are about, so you can see how you form one and why do you want to do it in the first place. So let's look at a definition of what a planetary activation group is, because you need to know what you're doing. Planetary activation groups are self-organizing, semi-autonomous components of the Planetary Activation Organization. They are informed and highly trusted champions of the Earth's environment and of its many indigenous human cultures and their sacred tradition. We are asking those who wish to do so, and so I said it's self-organizing. You come together and there's a magic from it. It then creates semi-autonomous components, planetary activation groups around the world. Many of these have never even talked to me about what they're doing. But we need to change that. We need to make sure that planetary activation groups are not only self-organizing, but they actually do associate with the Planetary Activation Organization. Now, PAGs can be all kinds of things. There's no set little definition of this is what you are and that's it. We don't believe in that. This is about being creative. This is about allowing yourself to go forth and do those things that you deeply feel in your heart are needed in order to help this world and all the people around it understand this conscious shift, this conscious change. So let's look at these different types of groups. Type 1 are PAGs that are profoundly devoted to working with the spiritual hierarchy. In many ways, they are modern proponents of an ancient tradition that I like to call guardian groups. Guardian groups simply are those that have information and wisdom that they have received even from a ascended master or from those who are connected by channelings or whatever to an ascended master or masters, and have come forth to spread this wonderful philosophy of wisdom and truth to the world. These are guardian groups, as I like to call them. Other PAGs deeply support Mother Earth and her biosphere, and or the spiritual rituals and diverse cultures of her many indigenous peoples. Both types of PAGs are dedicated to raising humanity's consciousness. We need to live in a world full of tolerance, full of consciousness, and full of an understanding of the beauty of Mother Earth and the beauty of the great, true spiritual tradition of the peoples of this world. We need to come together and support both of these basic aspects so that we can then use those to help create a new reality. Now, still other PAGs mix these together, the type 1 and type 2. They form their own unique blend. They are deeply dedicated to working with the spiritual hierarchy. At the same time, these groups also sense and answer a strong need to be of service to their community in any way possible. So PAGs help forge a new reality. PAGs work with Spirit and with Gaia, as we've said, to create a new reality. Now, let's look at a general idea of what planetary activation groups do. They inform the community of the mission of PAO, which I basically said is first contact, being very much about the shift happening to us consciously and understanding that there's a change coming in Mother Earth. We discuss the updates in the news from PAO. That's one of the things I want people to do. Look at what we're writing about. Get an idea what this organization is about. Use that aspect. You're not going to be a person who is just repeating information. It's part of the information you're getting, but I look at it as something that will help guide you in what you're doing. And of course, we are about supporting our members in achieving their full potential, to be aware of the needs of one's community, to provide a creative and innovative problem-solving service to that community, to act as guardians and stewards for Mother Earth. We're about understanding that Mother Earth is a divine being and that we have been destroying her for the last few millennia. This needs to stop. We need to look at all the problems in our communities and become a center for helping whatever aspect of it is needed to solve those problems. We need to understand what our communities really need, not what people say they need, but what do they really need? What do the people who live in those communities really want to do? And finally, we support our members in achieving their full potential. Let's let everybody associated with PAGs achieve really who they are. Let's help them to be more of what they truly and really are. Remember, PAGs are a joy to the heart. You are indeed enough already. PAGs will use their creative abilities to solve problems. Now, the thing they use is called fluid group dynamics. What is this thing? Fluid group dynamics is a tool well suited to an organization as original in its organizational structure as a planetary activation group. Using fluid group dynamics, a PAG can creatively solve a potentially difficult problem. Fluid group dynamics allows an expert or experts to lead a group through a creative process that can solve even the most difficult object to a PAG's or a community's success. So let's look at how this thing operates. You have a problem. Whatever that problem is doesn't matter. What matters is that it's there and it's a problem. The group then picks leaders who are chosen on the basis of abilities and expertise. They know about this problem. They have basic ideas on how to lead a group through a creative procedure to solve that problem, and they use their expertise of this particular subject to do so. So what happens is the rest of the PAG then acts as a support group. We are there to help each other get a better grip on what we're doing. Each of us has potentials, viewpoints, abilities, talents. All of this needs to be utilized. We need to publicly speak during the course of our meetings with one another and allow each and one of us to go through a process to get a better idea, to get a handle on this. As we all do that, we then work with the leaders chosen and we begin to obtain a creative solution. We may even invite, if it's about the community, to invite various community leaders, various people in the community who are experts on this particular problem, and let's come together and creatively work out a list of how to solve this problem. So once we do this, we work out a series of creative solutions, or one basic creative solution, problem solved. That's, in a nutshell, is how it's done. So the healing made manifest by this gift of fluid group dynamics can be carried out with a compassion in our heart and with joy in our souls. It brings us harmony and allows us to easily create organizations filled with passion and a deep caring for our environment and ourselves. We are working within the community. We are not above the community. We are a part of the community. We are using our need, our inner need, to help, to use it to put together various ways of creatively finding a solution so that any potential problem encountered can be solved. Fluid group dynamics thus gives us the perfect tool that finally permits each of us to express the inner creativity and the magnificent compassion that lies at the core of everyone's soul. Now, we've given you the opening about who and what we are, and if you're really interested in doing it, this is what you need to look at. To form a planetary activation group, you first need to understand a PAG's primary purpose. A planetary activation group's purpose is to utilize human, spiritual, and organizational energy to creatively resolve those problems now facing society. In achieving this goal, PAGs help prepare us for our coming galactic society. Now, what galactic societies are about is larger and larger groups of people coming together for one purpose, to creatively solve a community or a global problem. We do it at large. Thus, we are constantly acting creatively on a local level and then acting, finding solutions on a world level, on a global level. The purpose of planetary activation groups is to do their own thing in their own community and then communicate with one another, have PAGs talk to other PAGs, have a network created. This is one of the things that I really wish I had had the chance to create a decade ago. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the people. I'm going to put it out there that if people want to do this now, achieve the vision, it has been there for a long time. It is ready to be used. And I'm going to tell you in a little bit about a book that can help you with all that I'm talking about. So the first step in forming a planetary activation group is thus simple. Begin by establishing a core group. This group of like-minded and like-hearted individuals serves as the eventual nucleus of any PAG success. Now let's look at how you can put together such a core group. First of all, begin to establish your core group by calling a series of meetings with your friends, family associates, and other like-minded individuals. Announce these meetings in your community by stating what your objectives are. You can do this through a community paper. You can do this through the internet. Whatever you feel, or combinations thereof, that will help you get people to a meeting so you can begin discussing with people what you would wish to do and seeing what those people wish to do and how much it is their vision, that is, of yours. Now, another way to form a planetary activation group, trying to create a group, is to use a previously existing core group, a meditation group, a guardian group, or a new group of light workers who have come together to share their wondrous abilities and their ever-awakening consciousness. In certain situations, a PAG can be a combination of all of the above. As I said, the organization at the local level is creative. It's self-organizing. Once you start the procedure, you just let the wonderful energies of the universe happen. As I said in another recent webinar, once you make a plan, the universe will do all it can to make it happen. So just remember that. Now, after you've worked out getting your core group, we would really appreciate this time. Be sure to inform the Planetary Activation Organization, that's us, PAO, about your group. we can put you in touch with other like-minded local groups. Our hope is that groups will come together, organize, and inform one another, including ourselves, PAO, of this. So we would like to create a section eventually on the website. This is simply PAOweb.com. You see it right here in front of you. And get on our email list. And we'll be showing you in a little while how you can get on the email list if you're not there already. And send your vital information to us at PAO, P.O. Box 4975 here in El Dorado Hills, 95762, or email us at sheldan42@paoweb.com. Now, what is happening, therefore, is what we are talking about is PAGs coming together, creating a powerful global web of light. That's the vision. So let me go through a quick summary. As you look at planetary activation groups, you can see that they are very mission-oriented. Planetary activation groups have 4 main missions. 1, to make full use of its group's potential. This potential can be used to solve any possible problem and to discover creative, innovative ways in which to effectively apply fluid group dynamics toward achieving it, meaning the PAG's group dynamics, its objectives. What do we want to do? On the local area, it may just be to put together a special art project to teach people about consciousness through art. It can be anything. Use your creative abilities, come together, look at what project you want to use to create your objective, and do it piece by piece. Let each member of the group contribute to it. Let each one who has an expert, let's say you have somebody and you're doing an art project and somebody's an expert on painting, let's say, in oils or spray painting or whatever. Do what is needed. Other people may be experts in how to achieve, if you want to do an outdoor art, how to achieve the permits and other things that are required to do it. Do it as openly as you need to. The idea of all of this is to create a project or an objective that works and makes all the people in the group know they played their part to make it happen. 2, to act as an information and support group for its locality. One of the things I would like people who come into planetary activation groups is understand about what's happening to our Earth, what is happening to us as we change from being limited conscious beings of 3D to being fully conscious beings of 5D. So we need to create campaigns or just be available to inform people about humanity's ongoing physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual transformations. In this case, the members employ their increased abilities of discernment to grasp the many concepts and various types of information given them about their shift from limited to full consciousness. This information can update others about the ongoing stages of consciousness transformation that humanity is presently experiencing. Be eclectic. Work your information together. Talk to one another. Decide what feels right to you. Use that information. And then apply it to your community. Tell people in your community about what's going on, really. Explain it to them. Allow them to experience a cogent explanation of what's happening on our planet. That's what we want to do by listening to these various webinars, by understanding the updates and reading them. I am giving you a chance to take that information, combine it with whatever else you wish, and provide a cogent source of information for your community. So what we're doing is building a web of light. We are creating around us a means to take all the various amounts of information and speak to one another. I not only want people in groups to speak to each other in the group, but let's speak globally. Let's create people talking to one another globally. Let's use PAGs, planetary activation groups, to help all of us understand in a much better way what's going on not only here in the particular local community, no matter where you are in this globe, but where everything else is. We are about creating a worldview based upon people-oriented information. What is going on in your community is just a part of what's going on in all the other communities that make up the human condition on the surface of planet Earth. Let's talk to one another. Let's begin a project of not only doing what we feel is our passion, because that's what PAGs are about, is working to create your passion, and in using that passion to creatively bring out all the wonderful gifts that each of us have. PAGs are not about one honcho coming together and telling you, you got to do this. All I want to do with this is have a self-organizing groups that allow for each and every person who's a part of that group to creatively put together scenarios within their minds and within discussions with their fellows on how to create solution changes, how to make it possible to take a problem and turn it into a plus by creatively solving the negative aspects that have created it as a problem, turning it into a plus for the community. Let's be creative. Let's work with one another. Let's allow communities to explain how they solve problems and use that as prototypes for helping other people solve other problems around the world or similar problems. So what happens in the Netherlands or what happens in Greece or what happens in Italy or Africa, wherever, or Asia, wherever, has to be problems occurring also in North and South America and Australia and New Zealand and everywhere else. This is all about putting together a spiritual web of light. It is not about creating a situation where one group or one organization basically takes credit for everything. That is not what this is about. The most I ever want to do out of these groups is just know you're out there and what are you doing. 3, to spread vital information about the Galactic Federation of Light and its ongoing First Contact mission. We are a support group for the Galactic Federation of Light. We are here to give information that will permit the community to understand the reasons for this divine intervention and why it's happening at this particular time, our divine right time in history. So all we're simply saying here is one thing. Let's talk about the Galactic Federation for what it is, a benign, spiritually oriented group whose purpose, spiritual purpose for coming here, is not just to intervene, but to make it possible for this planet to shift according to a spiritual divine plan. Finally, to make use of locally and regionally a comprehensive directory of all planetary activation groups worldwide. This directory enables PAGs to work effectively and to creatively apply the skills needed to support each other. If there's anyone out there who wants to do this, just inform us and let us work with you as best we can to have this all happen. And I might just say here something that I want to really say. I want to give a little moment here. The lady who was the national director of PAGs for a long time, from its inception, died last year. And I am really, now that we are doing this, I would like to just bless her and give a moment of remembrance to her. And her name was Shireen Pendleton, and she was a marvelous lady. So God bless you. And I know you're up there in heaven watching all of this and hoping that all of us can bring this forth and let it happen now, because the world is about to shift, and we are all about that shift. So, in conclusion here, this is how you get a hold of us. Our main address to mail anything to us is the Planetary Activation Organization, P.O. Box 4975, El Dorado Hills, California, 95762. And the website is www.paoweb.com. And the voicemail is simply 530-327-9432. And the email the main email for PAO formally is info@paoweb.com. You can find that on the website. What you can see is that my arrow out is right here. And so with that, I'm going to turn everything over to my marvelous other half and let her finish it up with a general explanation of what's coming up and what's going on and how you can join our mailing list. So I will leave it to you, my dear.
Thank you, Sheldon. That was a very comprehensive review on Starseeds, I must say, and the Planetary Activation Organization. You also gave a lot of excellent information on planetary activation groups and how to form them. So, you know, Divine Right Time is here for all citizens to come together in groups to aid the restoration of humanity to full consciousness. Sheldon's book, as you can see here, Salamat Jah, A Guide for Galactic Humans, covers a lot of what Sheldan covered here in this webinar. And included in this handbook are the role of PAO, Planetary Activation Organization, how to form planetary activation groups, the significance of the global web of light, fluid group dynamics, sacred societies, and much more. So if you're interested in more information about how to start your PAG group, you can find it on our website, paoweb.com. All right, and by the way, Salamat Jah is Syrian for be and joy. So as you could see from this presentation on Starseeds, we are here for a special mission to help Mother Earth and her humanity family shift into a higher vibration by raising the spiritual awareness of those around us. So as 2012 approaches, more and more starseeds are waking up due to the familiarity of the new vibrations that are coming in. Boy, have we been bombarded lately with energies. It seems like every week there's a new opening. So getting in touch with your inner self and exploring various forms of meditation, deeper awareness, self-hypnosis, nature, or dream work can help a starseed to remember who they are, why they're here, and what it is they are meant to do or to be while they are here. So Sheldan, next. So just remember, starseeds are awakening to transform this world. So as Sheldan mentioned, many of the physical symptoms and signs of a starseed, well, here are a few more. Starseeds often experience sensitivity to extreme hot or cold. They have a high tolerance for pain, or sometimes they're on the extreme opposite and they can't take any pain at all. They're so sensitive. Starseeds have a tendency to bruise easily. They often have sinusitis. And many starseeds feel an aversion to bright and unnatural lighting. Starseeds find peace and solace in natural sunlight. They like to be outside, especially the fluorescent lights that really bother them, or us. They tend to have an affinity with nature, and they have a fondness for trees in particular. Many starseeds feel more at home with plants and animals than they do with other humans. Also, many starseeds have acute hearing or above average hearing range. They can be extremely sensitive to sound, and loud or chaotic noise disturbs them immensely. It's not uncommon for starseeds to sometimes hear strange or unusual high-pitched frequencies or tones in one of their ears. And this often happens during periods of accelerated soul growth and can even be accompanied by head pressure, tingling, or other sensations that seem unusual in any of the parts of your body. These physical experiences, they can happen out of the blue, and they can occur for a period of days or weeks, and then suddenly the symptoms disappear just as abruptly as they came. So I hope this expanded list of starseed traits helps. Some of you were writing in questions, and so I wanted to expand on that. So we do have a lot of new people, and we're so glad. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. You know, Sheldan provides free weekly updates from the Galactic Federation of Light and Spiritual Hierarchy. So, Sheldan, you want to show them how to get in touch? So if you would like to receive the updates and be notified of future webinars, coming events, streaming video announcements, then get on our Galactic Human mailing list. You can go to our website, www.paoweb.com, as you can see here, and it's on the second box on your right-hand side. Just click there, and you will be given you'll be giving a subscription, and you can just fill that out, and then you'll automatically get the updates and coming events. And speaking of future events, Sheldan's next webinar is on technologies that will transform our world. So over the past 100 years, we have witnessed many major technological developments. However, as we all know, technology that we really need now has been systematically suppressed by the cabals. So in this webinar, Sheldan will explain the technologies that will be made available to us after the announcements and disclosure. Now, since we do have a lot of new people with us today, and thank you for joining us, we are truly honored, I want to go over a few things. We usually offer the same presentation on 2 dates and times for each monthly webinar to cover as many time zones as possible. So in our monthly webinars, Sheldan usually presents for 1 hour and answers your questions for 30 minutes. So this is a favorite among the attendees. Now today we're not doing Q&A. This is just a presentation. But in our weekly one, our monthly one, we will be doing 30 minutes of questions and answers at the end. So our next webinar, Technologies That Will Transform Our World, it will be Sunday, June 24th, from 12 to 1:30, that's Pacific time, California time, and or Thursday, June 28th, 6 in the evening, Pacific time, that's California time. And Sheldan will discuss the suppression of technologies that the Galactic Federation are using to help us now, replicators, communicators, healing devices, how technology will restore Gaia to her pristine condition, and inner Earth. What does the living quarters in inner Earth look like? The metamorphosis, light chambers, and consciousness and technology. It's a spiritual science. So at the end of the live webinar, Sheldan will also disclose up-to-minute information on our timelines as he receives it directly from the Galactic Federation and the Ascended Masters. Our last webinar, which is on timelines, was very well received. Everybody loved it. It is to encourage us all to stay focused and to hold the light. So just like today we created a web of light all around the world, we do that in every webinar, and it's just a joy to be a part of it. So I hope you will join us June 24th or June 28th for Technologies That Will Transform Our World, and that's all we have for tonight. We at PAO hope that you enjoyed the webinar. It is always a pleasure and an honor to come together, creating a web of light and anchoring in our new reality, a reality based on love and unity. So be it. Salamat job, be and joy. Back to you, Shel.
Sure, and I would like to conclude with a simple prayer. We ask the Supreme Creative Force to come down, surround us across this great and wonderful globe, to help us take all the information given today so that we can use it in our own ways and our own many energy forms, both mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, to help create this new reality. So be it. And I would just like to say, Zazuma, thank you for listening today.